Right, we're here. We're here at Ibango. That's me. Must be President of Voice. Sorry. Right. So I've got some questions for you. We're here at Ibango, which is in where would you describe it? In the middle of San Antonio and San Rafael.
Right in the middle of the island.
Yeah, it's about middle, isn't it?
Middle-ish. Yeah. And I don't want to say too much, so I'm going to let you talk about it. So we have. I'm Roberto, by the way. This is Trace Harris.
Hi.
This is Alex O'Brien, and this is Spencer.
Even.
Only the one name for Spencer because everyone knows him. Yeah. Just the one name. Everyone's got to. This is Spencer Finch.
Spencer Finch, yeah.
Right.
Finch.
So we're here at Ibango, and my first question is for Trace, who, can I say you run the place here?
Well, I am kind of officially the landlord, but I prefer to be your friends.
Right, that's a good way of putting it. So I'd like you to tell us, or tell the viewers, where does Ibango come from? For example, before you got here, what was Ibango?
To the best of my knowledge, 40 years ago it was a music school. Funny enough, about 4 years ago a guy turned up here on a little scooter. He was about 70 and he wanted to show his girlfriend, who was also about 70, this house where he used to teach piano, which was really interesting. Right. That's the only time I knew it was some kind of a music school. I have known it before as to be a doctor's house to rehabilitate sick children, or it was meant to be, sorry. It had plans for that.
That's cool.
It was all in the process of happening, and then there was an explosion over the back in the industrial yard over the back. They stored gas, apparently, and this whole house was covered in dust 20 years ago, so he had his licence.
I didn't know
withdrawn.
that.
Yeah. And it never actually quite happened. That stuff I find out from our wonderful neighbours, Vincent, the French commune that live over the back there, Oasis. Right. So that's the, and I suppose I and my friends and Alex and everyone else, we've reborn it as a music place, which is exactly what it is, among other things.
Well, that was my next question. So what is it now? So that's basically what it is.
What is it? Well, the idea come really from my experiences in Israel, where you come across so many different nationalities, religions, everything.
Cultures, yeah.
And everybody's the same on a kibbutz, whether you're very rich or very poor, you're the same. And I kind of love that aspect.
Yeah.
And all you can really do to show off is be a better friend or share something. And
so is that your vision for Ibango?
Kind of, and I wondered if it could exist anywhere else in the world. And then when I came to Ibiza, first of all as a musician, I guess, but when I came and saw the community feeling of different nationalities and people and such diverse people, I then, first of all, I rented rooms like most guys do off me, I suppose, and then I thought as soon as I'm able to, I'll create my own little
sanctuary.
B&B, but it's always bed and bongos at best. There's never no breakfast from us. And I love it. There's so many different people.
Well, that's technically still B&B, isn't it?
It's still B&B.
Bed and bongos.
The name Ibango, that means Ibiza. Bang.
So who
drums.
came up with the word Ibango? You came up with that. Oh, well, I thought it was called that before. I didn't know.
No. I named it that with a reference to drums, Ibiza and go. I did think it was actually totally unique, but I did look into it a while ago, and there was some African tribe called it somewhere, so they could be suing me at this moment. But that's where the name comes from.
Unless Apple come up with like a drum and they call it Ibango or something.
Yeah, so that's the history.
You get a copyright.
As far as I know it, and we continue the vein of music through here, wonderfully.
We're good. Well, I'm going to actually put some videos and some pictures of Ibango on this video when I'm edited it and stuff. So that's going to be cool. Right, cool. Thanks for that. The second question, I'm going to aim this towards everyone because it's just a generic question. I don't know how long everyone's lived here for, so I'm taking Trace has been here from the start, which is
6
how long?
years.
6 years. Yeah. And what about you, Alex? How long have you been here?
4.5, 5 years. That's about it. Came in a year after you.
Yeah.
About 14 months, isn't it? 14 months.
Yeah.
And what would you say you do here? What would you go? Because I think everyone, because I've been around here for the last, how long have I been here now? A few months. Yeah. And I've noticed that everyone who lives here has got something about them, whether it be they play instruments or they've got something to help others with. Would you say that? Like they've got a character. Everyone's got a character.
Yeah,
here.
I think everyone here is both creative and caring in their own ways. You know, everyone is able to do their own thing, and that's appreciated then from everyone else in the house.
Yeah.
Everyone's individual.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Everyone can definitely survive on their own, yet we all survive as a group.
Everyone's very supportive as well.
Yeah. Like your story, for example, what you've started to create here as well. You're very involved with your meditation and your yoga and stuff. I see you post stuff every morning and stuff like that.
But that wouldn't have
would
been
you say if
unless
you went
I
and
lived
lived
here.
somewhere else, would you have maybe been pushed to do that?
I don't think it would have happened.
Or do you think Ibango's helped you do that?
I don't think it would have happened. I wouldn't have been in that realm.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm surrounded by it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But without all the crystals and woo-woo.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, if I wasn't here, it wouldn't have happened. So everything for a reason. Definitely.
Yeah. All right, okay, cool. Right, this next question I'm going to dedicate to Alex. So I want to know what it's like living here as a musician. So if you try and answer the question in respect of, in regards to like, in comparison to if you weren't a musician sort of thing. So are there any benefits to living here instead of anywhere else, like say in a house on your own? Like for example, I've lived on the island for a few years. I've always lived like in a house or in a room by myself in an apartment. I've never sort of like lived with a group of people who like help each other and stuff like that. So as a musician, what would you say the benefits are, if any, or any disadvantages of living here as a musician? What would you say?
Well, as a musician, having the session here on a Tuesday and having that outlet, especially in times like this when there's it's difficult enough, even just doing something among ourselves has been wonderful to be able to keep that going, because as musicians we need to be able to play it. And all right, we can sit in our room and play our instrument on our own to our heart's content, but there's nothing like the magic of playing with other people to have that kind
and I
of
suppose
thing.
as well with this year especially, you've got loads of people living, for example, in a bedroom, 4 walls, or even if it's in a house with 4 people who are not musicians and one person a musician. I suppose here you've had the advantage of, even when you're not allowed to mix with a lot of people, but at times there's been maybe 10 plus people living in the same house, so you can mix with. It's as if you're socialising. It's as if you're going out and having fun with everyone else, but you're in your own house.
Exactly. And you know, before all this hit, having that Tuesday session here and not knowing who's going to turn up. We've had so many incredible musicians from all parts of the world, of all instruments, of all different styles and levels of ability or not, and they can all come here and be accepted and be able to do their thing, in a group setting, and that's really been magical, you know, all the time.
I don't know anywhere else on the island really that's like here. Well, I haven't been everywhere on the island, but I haven't lived everywhere on the island, but from what I know of being here and also speaking to other people who've never been here, they know that they don't know much about Ibango, but they know that it's like a one-off, unique place, which I suppose is a cool thing for people to think about. But my next question is for you, Spencer. It's a similar question I've asked Alex, but I'm going to say non-musician, but you are actually a musician. You play a little bit of guitar, but you don't actually go.
Songs that
they're very good songs, though.
I see you all go like that.
No.
Well, I'd just like to clarify, Spencer does actually play guitar, but the reason I sort of wanted to put him as a non-musician, it's very humble. I wanted to list him as a non-musician because you don't actually go, you don't make a living out of going to play music at different bars and venues and stuff like that.
Let me.
So what's it like being here as a non-musician? And I know you play guitar, so has that helped you sort of?
One word, inspiring. So
like surrounded by musicians is. Obviously, we're a loud bunch, aren't we? Is it quite annoying sometimes, or is it just?
No, not at all. No, I love it, and you certainly get used to it. It's like kind of white noise now. Someone's always banging a drum, Trace.
He often tells me
playing a hang drum, Trace, or just tapping on the table having your breakfast, Trace. Yeah, so Trace makes quite a lot of noise.
Right, okay.
But it's all in rhythm. No, it's good. I love it, mate. I was a little bit daunted about picking my guitar up when I first came here and having a little go. But now, I mean, everyone's family, and you never embarrass in front of your family, and that's the feeling you get here. So if anything spurred me on, I still ain't learnt another chord, but I do play their mate songs a lot better.
Well, I suppose you've got I'm going to talk briefly later on about the drum circle that you have on a Tuesday, but I suppose for a non-musician, I know you play guitar, but say someone came in to Ibango, literally never picked an instrument up at all. The things like the drum circle, you sort of invite people to get involved, whereas a lot of places don't do that. Like a lot of places it would be organised, and they would never dream of asking someone who can't play a thing to get up, because they sort of think, you can't do that. Like you might even ruin the night or whatever. Like, there's nothing of that here.
No, they
people
welcome
just
it
get
here.
involved.
They welcome it here.
It's totally not intimidating.
Yeah. Judgmental.
We sometimes have had maybe 20, 25 people playing.
Yeah.
Quite good, by the way. And you always see someone doing this with their foot. And if I notice it, I tend to try and sneak a drum next to them.
Yeah.
Especially if they're children. Sometimes you tell a child to bang a drum, he's going to fold his arm.
Yeah.
Drum near him, and eventually he'll tap it.
Yeah.
And I think with music, we all become children. And
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
This place that we've created, I think if you have any ability of music, it's going to come out. Eventually, you're not going to be able to not play.
Yeah.
Like Spencer, at some point, he'll just pick up the guitar and play.
Yeah.
And what Spencer said earlier on, maybe if he'd have been somewhere else, that might have never happened.
Yeah.
Or people come in drum for the first time and enjoy it.
Yeah.
We do.
I think that's where magic comes from.
Yeah.
I think in people being not necessarily pushed. I'm not saying you're pushing people to do
stuff. Of push,
yeah,
actually.
it's like a lot of life at the minute. It's all about experience. Like, you can only do this. You can only have this job if you have this amount of years experience.
Yeah.
But you miss out on creating magic with people who've never done something before.
Yeah.
And then people become passionate about something they didn't think that they could do.
Exactly that. Although you say drum circle, which it started off as a drum circle, because it's kind of what I have always done, drums. I did start it as a drum circle, but then other instruments would come. Alex moved in, and it became much, much more than that. And occasionally I saw people come in with drums, thinking it's just a drum circle, and whether they're a bit snobby or something, but they walk off.
Oh, really?
It's not because it's other instruments, but they always creep back. And
That's
it's not
strange.
drums no more,
No.
really. In fact, I'm a drummer, but too much drums does my head in, even my own drumming.
Maybe because I can't remember which question it was, but the drum circle, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
That's how I mentioned, like you host a drum circle at Ibango, and that's on a Tuesday night, yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a drum circle now.
Yeah, I was just
The
about to say,
gathering.
so you should probably change the name of it now.
No, I don't call it drum circle. I just call
Music circle or something.
The
like that.
Some
gathering.
people do. They say
what?
to me,
The gathering.
The
gathering, yeah. They say to me, "You still doing your drum circle?" And I always say the same answer. There's a few drums there, yeah.
Yeah.
Just so they know. But
I remember one night when I was here for one of the drum circles, you had like a box just here, and it was just full of random things that people wouldn't think that were here, like glockenspiels and just little pieces of wood that you can bang on and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to pick up a stereotypical instrument like one of these drums.
Yeah.
Or these are not drums, the bongos, aren't they?
It's like
Congas.
Congas, yeah.
So you could just literally pick up, or even just bang
Tap
on the
away,
floor.
yeah.
So as long as you're making a noise,
Yeah,
and
just joining.
sort of in rhythm.
Yeah,
The gathering was the first thing I saw, wasn't it?
yeah.
I turned up because I came here for 4 days initially.
Oh right, so that was
Turned my
you came
world
on a
round.
Tuesday.
First time I ever saw Ibango. I'd never been here before, but it was full on in the summer, wasn't it? No COVID.
Yeah.
Dancers from El Row, acrobats from the zoo, fire breathers.
It's unpredictable,
I was like, what?
Obviously, I haven't
Someone
experienced
something
that
on the
because
plane.
obviously I've just came here within this
About
year.
100 people.
So it was that was
Mental,
one of
it's
the
brilliant,
things
wasn't
I was going to ask, like how the whole like COVID thing this year has affected things like that. So you mentioned about like people like from Elrow coming. Obviously, you can't really have that.
No.
You haven't been able to have that this
Doesn't
year.
exist at the
How's
moment.
that affected the whole thing?
Oh, it's more or less stopped it, and we did have to stop it
We did
for
stop it, it got
a
too
good
busy,
while,
yeah.
and obviously following all the regulations that are in current at the moment, and that's what we had to do. But as we were saying, compared to last year when we could have anything up to 70, 80 people all round and all getting involved, there's
I really like to
acrobats,
experience that
artists,
because I've never
it
seen
was
like
it
70
was
people in here.
magic,
We
yeah.
had them all around the roof doing fire.
Yeah, it was.
We have to get a bit
absolute-
more of a wider angle on these cameras, I think, for that. I think.
We'll get it again next year.
Yeah, no, we will. It's kind
It's
of
worth waiting
it's
for.
kind of we have to control the numbers now, whereas promoting, which is what I am or was a promoter, it's all about more.
Yeah, so you've had to sort of rein yourself in.
This thing we do here, if this COVID wasn't here now, it could easily get massive, but I don't want it to, and it's a wonderful problem.
Yeah.
You know, normally you have a financial outlay and you have to recoup that.
Keep numbers
up. You
up.
have to get to a point of numbers before you even can have a coffee.
Yeah.
That's just to clear your backlog.
Yeah.
There's no pressure on this. If one person comes, it's fine. If 100 come,
it's
not
a problem.
now,
Yeah.
it's still fine, and I love it. And it brushes my ego more than it used to when I did events with 4,000 people. It just keeps me elevated and proud and humble.
Yeah.
And I love it without any fear of I'm going to make money or I'm going to lose.
Yeah.
It's quite special.
I suppose we've done a couple of gigs this year, and me and Alex, and even the gigs that I did on my own are been very strange this year, because normally, like Trace said, you're there to make number. Like as a promoter, you want to get more numbers, but as a musician, you want to create a vibe. Ideally, get people up on the tables. Do you know what I mean? Once you've got people up on the tables, that's it. You're going to probably get a little bit more than you asked for, really, like as a gig. But this year, I got told off many times for getting the vibe going. Do you know what I mean? There's people are getting up and dancing. You need to change with the music that you're playing, and that was backwards. Normally you'd get wrong for
it's crazy, really.
do you know what I mean? Doing the opposite, but like
people are having too much of a good time.
Yeah.
Turn it down.
Apparently next year all the clubs are going to employ the worst DJs they can find. All the DJs that can never get a gig, like
there was one place, I can't remember what place it was now.
I
I ended up playing this gig, but at first they said that obviously I'd played for them before and they knew what sort of set I play, and I play a lot of dance classics, so they ended up sort of trying to put us off playing the gig. So they thought, look, I don't think you would work this year because you're a bit too atmosphere-y. Is that a word? No, probably not, but you know what I'm saying. And I was like, well, no, I can chill it down a bit, you know, and I can just get rid of the plaque and I can stop tapping my foot as hard, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's just weird. Like, normally you get wrong for not getting the vibe going, do you know what I mean? And this year you're getting wrong for getting the vibe.
Let's hope it don't last, but you wait till they let us all out of the starting blocks. We're going to be flying for years.
Well, hopefully that'll be really soon, hopefully. Right, we're flying through these questions, mind.
No.
Didn't think we'd fly through this fast, but anyway. So this one's for everyone, and I briefed on it earlier on. You must, having such a variety of people who live in here, you must have had loads of different parties and loads of drum circles or music gatherings, should we say, from now on. You must have some crazy stories, or maybe people who've lived here briefly, who weren't supposed to be here, and they ended up leaving, or you must have, I'm guessing the way you're all moving about, you've probably got an individual each person. Right, we'll start with Spencer.
Everyone's been lovely.
Spencer, tell us a crazy
I've
story.
seen 50 people come and go or live
Oh, blimey. Oh, on the spot.
We'll no names.
no names. It's not fair to all of them.
No names, but go crazy.
Oh, no, do you know what? I don't want to.
Really?
No. Like I say, they know where we live.
I don't mind.
We know you don't. Go on.
I don't mind.
I'll think of one.
All right, go on then, Chase.
This is not knocking, some standout characters.
Right.
Paolo.
Okay. I never met him, I don't think.
Was he Romanian, Sylvia? Anyway, he was a dentist and he came here and became a trainee shaman, I would say. He bought every single gadget that a shaman has ever heard about.
Right, okay.
And he was really interesting, lovely guy.
Yeah.
And one morning you'd meet him, he'd be upside down on a tree banging a gong. So he was an incredible, funny, interesting character.
Did you meet Paolo?
Alex knew him.
Right, okay.
Yeah, we never knew where he was going. He was harmless.
Right.
He was harmless. But he was a character that it's got to go in the top. He's got to go in the Dirty Dozen or the top 10 or the Magnificent Seven
Right.
characters. Maybe Alex can pull another one out of that bag.
And what's the story about him then?
He's a dentist again now, so the shamanist didn't work.
Right, okay.
No shame in it.
Parents brought him back because he went away with the fairies.
Right.
But of course there's not really any money.
Yeah.
I think he's a dentist again.
Right, okay. And how long did he live here for?
He could still be here. I think he was here for about 4 months, but it was cool though. It was cool. That's a character that stands out to me. He's in my top 7.
Right. Where was he living? Which room was he living in?
I can't even remember. A 10.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Right.
He never got to a room. He never got progress to a room.
Right. Okay.
Never quite made it.
Exactly.
Can you think of a standout character, good or bad? Not bad.
Well, I mean, there have been a lot of crazy people have passed through Ibango in the time here, but I must say, you know, some of the nicest people and some of my greatest friends I've ever had the privilege of meeting have also been here.
Yeah.
So that's just been wonderful,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And the nice, decent people, I don't know how he does it, but 99.9% of the people that Trace gets in are decent people, you know. The odd time you get a loony who slips in through the net, but they normally, you can say even there, I mean, they're entertaining, you know.
I thought that was a prerequisite.
Entertaining is the word.
Well, without them people, this interview would be less time.
Exactly.
Well, there's Giovanni, but he still lives here. You see him with his gold grilling and his donkeys.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Service.
I remember the story you told me about.
He's a good son, he is.
We never know. Well, we do kind of know. I try and make an assessment of who's going to turn up, and I try and tell the tribe.
This is my next question, actually.
Yeah, right. Okay, when someone new's coming in, and I mess up sometimes.
Right, well, let us ask the question first, just in case you brief on it, right? So my next question was, somewhere as inviting as Ibango is, and everyone knows how cool it is, you're going to get so many people who want to live here. So I suppose my question was, I suppose this is to Trace, how do you choose, I'm going to read this out word for word, how do you choose who gets to stay here and who doesn't? I mean, how does one pass the I want to live at Ibango test? Is there like a height restriction or something?
No, not. But there is a criteria.
Right, go for it.
I'm really lucky and privileged that a lot of people would like to live here, even in these unusual times when there's a huge choice of places out there, as you know. To keep this house ticking over. I'm blessed that there's enough people, Alex, Spencer, yourself, that want to live here, because I know I'm fully aware you have other choices. Now, why do you want to live here? It's an interesting place. You have to peel back the layers to really get it, because if you come here and make a snap judgment on it being perfect white walls and everything perfect, you're going to run. Right? But if you can just get under the core of it, like Spencer obviously has, Alex obviously has, it's kind of infectious. And so therefore I try my best to, when someone asked, and believe me, there's a lot, and I try and eliminate as quick as I can with really simple questions. It's easy to eliminate a guy,
right?
But then I have to try my best, and I speak to my wife Sylvia. What do you think of this person? They sound all right. Majority of them seem to come out with the line, "I'm a yogi." Well, that makes me want to run, because I find myself that a lot of yogis, not all, are kind of loopy.
What do you mean by yogi?
Well, a yoga instructor.
Oh, yoga instructor, right? Okay.
Or
right.
a healer.
Okay.
I normally hide from them,
right?
Because they're just trying to use this house to.
Do you mean are you talking about people sort of like hippie wannabes sort of thing?
Well, they
hippie crits.
Hippie crits. I like that.
People that hear about this house, they hear different things. It's musical. There's creative people. It's a bit like a commune, and it is all that. But it's a very exciting place. It could not be called boring by anyone. So I try my best to have people live here that will mix with everybody else. So sometimes I will discuss to Alex or Spencer, there's this person coming from France or Canada or wherever. This is what I know about them. What do you think? And I will listen to these guys as well. I could so easily, in my defence, just fill up everywhere. But it could easily be destroyed. We actually don't mind a rogue person coming, but it's quite interesting to be put in the mix. I don't want to say we've healed some people, but there has been people come here. If they was in a different environment, potentially they would escalate.
Worse.
We all have a bad side, but they might escalate their bad side. This diffuses it, I think. They'll meet someone.
I think you have to be.
We've all been through what they're going to tell us they've been through, probably between us, and they become, as we all do, better humans. I really think some people become better humans mixing with the diversity of people in this wonderful place.
I think that's a good way of putting it, and I think from me being here, I've realised that you have to be at a certain point of your life in your own and a certain point, a certain frame of mind, a state of mind, should I say, to stay here. Because I think when I look back on the years that I've been here, I could openly tell you years and dates that if I was to live here, I wouldn't have stayed here, because I wasn't ready for what it's like here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you have to be. I think not necessarily a certain type of person, because I think people change throughout their life. Like if you met me 7 years ago, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed being here, because my frame of mind was not like it is now. For example, I don't know, maybe like you said yourself, you used to be a promoter, and back then, maybe, I don't know however many years it was ago. What was it? Would you say 20 years ago, or more or less?
Only 7 years ago I stopped, really. I'm still a promoter now, really, with whatever I do.
But back then, your frame of mind, would you have enjoyed being in this? No, do you know what I mean? So I think you have to be a certain type.
Hotel with up all the time, and
yeah. So you have to be a certain type of person at that point of your life to fully appreciate it and then thrive within it as well. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah. It's a place where, if you come here as a music teacher or someone that can give advice to many friends, you can do it here. I'll give you free hand to do it here. I mean, I love seeing this used. For anything. If Spencer, which he will be doing, comes up with an idea, he'll tell me the basics of it, then I'll go do it. I love seeing it used.
Yeah, I
think for a lot of things.
And I think that's what Ibiza used to be like. I think Ibango's got a very big part of, and this is in a good way, of the old Ibiza. It's sort of what happens and what goes on in Ibango, and the way people treat people and the way people push people to do better and stuff like that, is what Ibiza, I think, is lacking now. I think. Would you say that?
Yeah, it is, because if you wanted to come here and be a teacher in a hall or a school, you've got to lay out dough. You don't have to here, especially if you live here. You just do whatever you want. You know.
This interview, for example.
Do whatever you want. I'm open to pretty much anything. I like it being used.
Inspiring place.
Yeah. I think from living here, people, if you come up with an idea, normally people might shut it down really quick. Oh, that's a daft idea. Why do you want to do that? Whereas here, even if it runs through your mind and you think, well, I don't think that would work, you just push the person to do it anyway, and just say, well, yeah, I'll help you with that. I think it's a good idea, rather than sort of like put it down.
Yeah, no one puts up barriers here.
Yeah, no one does that. Yeah,
normal society, if you like.
Yeah,
it's quite in a bubble here.
Yeah.
So I've said, you guys, I want to do this academy. Yeah, fantastic, go for it. That's brilliant.
In fact, do you want to tell us about the thing that you're putting together and stuff, actually, because I think it's really interesting.
Oh, try briefly. Well, I turned up, like we said, about 14 months ago in the right state, like through relationship breakup. I was in a really bad way, really badly depressed and everything. Came out here for 4 days. My mate Kai got me out here, bless him. For the first time in a long time, I actually felt something rather than just not wanting to be here. And and it was just like, I'd never even been to Spain before, so Ibiza was like, I had all these preconceptions of it.
Yeah, as everyone does.
But, and I did a bit of the clubs and that when I actually moved there. But that's not been it for me at all. So I came out here and it was just, I felt a big release. I was like, oh my God. So within 3 weeks of going back, I handed him my notice, booked a flight and rang me mate and said, I'm coming out. And I was like, oh, when? I was like, Saturday. I went, oh, fucking hell. It's going to be like in 6 months or something. And I was like, oh, all right then. So that was that. And obviously, I'd in those 4 days, I've been here, met Trace, met everyone. It was amazing. And they said, yeah, you come and live here. Stayed in the wigwam for 3 months. Went off to Africa with Kai. Like, unreal. It was just like, crammed all this stuff in such a short time. It was all a bit overwhelming.
Did that help with what you were going through at the time, or?
Yeah, it totally detracted from it, and it made me grateful for a lot of stuff, especially going to Africa and that, and and living in a wigwam. But yeah, I've done so many amazing things. I'll be here all night.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's taken me a while to settle, and I've worked on myself, and I've been on the wagon, off the wagon, on the wagon, off the wagon. There's come to a point, so fuck, I can't do this anymore. And basically, I've got an amalgamation of all these things that I've done all here as well. It's all been here because everyone comes to Ibango to do their sort of holistic stuff and that.
Yeah.
And
maybe to find themselves, sort of thing. Would you say?
I think everyone that lives here and spends time here anyway has got a little bit of a backstory.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've got a little
Ibiza
bit of
anyway,
a,
but especially Ibango.
yeah, like a little bit of a, you know, a bit of dark or upsetting past, you know, and everyone's kind of aware of that, I think, and everyone's really supportive of it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
I
think
suppose no
everyone
one
feels
moves
it in
away
each other.
from
It's
the
kind of
place.
it's kind of a bond. Do you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what I mean?
definitely, yeah.
So everyone's really quite sensitive to each other. You know, like everyone's really caring here and kind, and you know, I've never lived like this before for a start, but I've never known so many people like it who are consistently like it. Like it's not BS. Like they're the real deal. A lot of them. So you know, I sound like Beyonce. I feel blessed, but I do. I feel proper blessed being here. It's unreal. But through all that, all the things I've had to go of.
You're not paying him for this, Trace, are you?
Don't have to.
Knock me a
I'm
score off the
joking,
rent.
He's genuine.
But I always said when I come out here, do you know what? Like I want to help other blokes. You know, like how I felt here. But it's taken me 14 months to get, and I thought, right, what parts of what I've done have helped me, and everything that's sort of like changed my mindset a bit. I've put into an academy called the HIYOS Academy.
HIYOS.
HIYOS, HIYOS, and it means happy in your own skin. And I've sort of taken, and this is no slight to anyone who's spiritual and that, you know, if the blokes find spirit, but I've describe I've taken the crystals and the woo-woo out of it, sort of thing.
Okay.
And just want to share, you know, the palpable things it's done for me, and it has helped me so much. I'm a different bloke, like, I know I am, like, I'm a different bloke, calm, you know, the anxiety I've had all my adult life is just gone.
So this
Depression
HIYOS
has
thing,
gone.
so is it just you, or can people get involved with this HIYOS
Well,
thing?
basically, at the moment, it's all on social media.
Right.
I've got a GoFundMe running. What I want to do is I'm going to do 2 days of workshops.
Yeah.
And all the tutors, they want to help these blokes too.
Right.
I have eight fellas, so 8 students, if you like.
Yeah.
A load of instructors. Basically, all the people that I've done stuff with.
Yeah.
So like sound therapies, drum circle,
Yeah.
story circle, a couple of different sound therapies, day out on a boat and hiking, all the things that have helped me.
Yeah.
Talking about nutrition, meditation, yoga, breath work.
And all these things that you're mentioning, like you say, so like yoga and stuff like that, are you doing it all, or are you getting people who know what they're doing coming in with all the
There's
different
3
things?
things I do every day. I call it the MBE, and you give yourself a medal. So it's like meditation, breath work, and some form of exercise.
Right.
And I've made a chart up for myself, so it's like no alcohol, no drugs, meditate, yoga or stretch, breath work.
And
I
you
say a
basically
little prayer
sharing this
every day as
information.
well.
Yeah.
But I'm not religious.
Yeah.
But you know, I make a good intention, and it's always got to be for someone or something else. Can't be for yourself. And at least 50 press-ups.
Right.
So it was a lot of crosses at first. Now it's all full houses, like every day, which is good.
Right, yeah,
Apart from
yeah.
the booze and drugs, that's been since I've been doing it. No booze, no drugs. That's
How long's it been now with the
couple of months.
Couple of months.
Couple of months, and
That's
it's
big.
just my life's turned around.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably turned around.
And you put it down to this, what you saying?
100%, 100%. First thing, just getting off any addictions, just putting them aside and then replacing it with something else.
Yeah, that's
and being consistent. But so I do these 3 things where, well, I feel like it every day now. I jump out of bed, I do it before I brush my teeth.
Yeah.
I meditate for 10 minutes. I've nailed it down to half hour and all.
Yeah,
That's about how I thought. How long do you look at your phone before you actually get out your scratcher? It's half hour, innit? What's everyone else doing? It
I'm
always
worst
gives you the
offender for that, like, yeah.
Instagram, geezer with your shirt off in front of someone else's boat, some boat with a what's name's out. Do you know what I mean? It's unhelpful. It's like, oh man, I've got to go in the world now. Like, you know, I'm a fucking plumber.
Yeah.
Can't keep up with that. So 10 minutes meditation, 10 minutes breath work, 10 minutes yoga or stretching, and I feel golden all day. And I'm getting a really big response now. A lot of blokes.
So is it free, this? Or do people have to pay for it, or?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm GoFundMe, crowdfunding at the minute, so I've got some overheads, like boats you can't get for nothing.
So if people have to search for this GoFund thing, or how do they get to it?
It's on my Facebook and on my Instagram, Finch_Spencer on Insta, and on Spencer Finch. And there's a picture of me cut in half, one of me on the train,
right,
coming back from St Pancras.
Is that the good picture?
Like Walking Dead, and then one of me, like South East London Russell Brand, like having a meditate. And there's lots of videos and links, and every day in my story on each, you know, I just put 3 pictures of me. What it looks like out the front there when I get up in the morning. picture of me meditating, picture of me doing yoga or some exercise, and a picture of me doing breath work. Just showing that I'm consistent. If I can do it, they can do it 100%. Like if I can do it,
well, I suppose
it.
this isn't just good for people who want to get involved, but it's like unbelievably good for you to look back on in, like, say, a year's time or 6 months' time or whatever.
It's massively cathartic for me, and I found I hadn't had any passion in anything since I was a kid. So I was an actor when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And through this and the other, like, that just never happened. I got into a good school. But I've never felt any passion in my whole adult life, really, like proper passion for anything. And I found it again. I'm just like so invigorated with it, and like there's no stopping me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just raising funds for to get 8 blokes who really need it out here for 3 days, 2 days of workshops with all the people that have helped me and shown me the way, if you like, and then a nice adventure day, like on a boat, hiking the woods.
Yeah.
And so
it sounds wicked. I think
we're halfway there with funding, like unbelievable in like 10 days.
And obviously you'd put that down, a big part of that due to Ibango helping
Massively
you.
put it down to being here. That would not have happened if I was anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it definitely wouldn't have happened in the UK.
Yeah, yeah,
I would have been brown bread.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's wicked. That's a good story.
Yeah. So thank you guys. If it weren't honest, if it weren't for the people I live with, you know, and this environment, I would have got nowhere near it. It's all been a pipe dream.
What would you say as well this year with the whole COVID thing? That's probably helped you as well, like sort of being able to have more time than you would have normally, sitting thinking about stuff.
I could equate that like this. When we were in lockdown and they let us out, we all sort of went, oh, I could do another couple of months. Like, we were doing it. We've done like a come dine with me every night, took turns cooking. We set all the terrace around the side out like a restaurant.
We all enjoyed it.
Like we had fancy dress parties, archery, stories. So we've done so many things. Like, you know, you'd think sort of there was 12 of us.
Yeah.
You'd think 12 people living together and you're not allowed to go out anywhere. You'd beat each other's throats, but it was totally the opposite.
Amazing.
Like, I couldn't believe it. It was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Couldn't make it up. Could not make it up.
Might have to happen again yet if there's another lockdown.
If it was Big Brother, people wouldn't watch it because it'd been too fucking boring. Like, look, no one's having a row. Look, they're all, look, he's washing up and he's drying up. Look, no one's leaving things. Like, no one's getting on anyone's tits. It's
That's why that's a lot of people would think living with 10 plus people, like some people can't live with 2 or 3 people, do you know what I mean? And then you've got like 10 plus, and when it's really busy, sometimes even more. I can imagine it getting quite busy in the kitchen or the toilet area.
It all works though. If someone wants a bit of space from everyone, there's plenty of places here.
I think you look at a machine with a million cogs, but as long as every cog moves,
it works. It flows. It's nice. It's nice. As I said, if you want a bit of space or you want to be away from people, you can go and sit somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
No,
well, we're seeing this all. We're talking about this. This wasn't part of the interview, but I'm finding it really interesting. I want to ask what your story is, Alex, and then we're going to ask what your story is.
It's my only vice, by the way.
Yeah, I might have one actually.
Yeah,
go for it,
mate.
We're not promoting smoking, by the way.
One thing I can't knock on the head at the minute.
So, Alex, if you can tell me a bit about you and because like Spencer said, everybody who's on this island's got a story. I think to move away from the place where you grew up, where your family is, where your friends are, I think you have to have some sort of story or some sort of not a negative thing happen, but you need something inside you that tells you to go or to move for whatever reason, to find yourself or whatever. So what's your story about it? I'm not necessarily Ibango, but about what is Alex O'Brien's story? Tell me.
Once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away. No, I've been in Ibiza here 12 years now, I think. Yeah. And yeah, I came over. I've been a musician for the past 25 years now in professional ways. And Ireland just, God, rain, the weather, the miserableness. Oh, it was good, but at the same time, like a lot of people, I just felt that I needed a change.
Yeah.
And I was on mainland Spain for a bit with family there, and even that, I was playing music there, but it's still, I wasn't settled. Didn't feel right. I had a great time there.
Yeah.
But I had started playing with DJs with my keyboards, and they were doing drum and bass.
Well, this is back in Ireland.
This is mainland Spain.
Oh, mainland Spain, sorry, yeah.
Torrevieja, where you were.
Yeah.
So it was like an epiphany. One morning, I was like, what am I going to do with myself? And this voice like, go to Ibiza. I was like, okay then. So I did. I got a job working in a bar in the West End. And that only lasted a few months before we all decided it would be a better idea if I wasn't working there anymore.
Yeah. Wasn't you? It wasn't you.
It wasn't me, no. But it was good, I'm still friends with the owners. But I met this Brazilian guy. We started playing gigs around the place. Mostly I was playing gigs for food.
Yeah.
At that point, I was very lucky to get offered a job in the schools teaching guitar. I'd never done it before. And
you play guitar and keyboards?
Guitar and keyboards, yeah.
And the fool?
The fool. That comes naturally. So yeah, that enabled me then to live here during the winters, which is the struggle for a lot of people.
So the first year you came here, you were here the winter. That first year
here
as
the
well.
Winter, yeah. So I've just been here pretty much all the way through. And now I work in 2 different schools. Just got another job offer of another one, and I found out that I was quite good at it and at teaching the kids, and I really enjoyed it. So I've been lucky, to be able to do that. And the music, I was in some great bands over the years here, and still am.
Your dad's a musician as well,
yes, yeah. From my musical background, and his father as well was a musician and the classical guitar player.
All right.
So yeah, that's it. 12 years and still going strong here.
So you're still loving being here?
I love it. It's my home. I realised quite early on, pretty much as soon as I got here, I found my spiritual home in my life.
Yeah.
And that was Ibiza.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way about Ibango when I got here. My spiritual home within Ibiza.
Yeah,
it was wow,
Deep.
Exactly. So yeah.
Wicked. I like that. Trace, tell me, what is your story?
My story, I'll wind it back to 21. When I was 21...
Have we got enough storage on the...
Well, no, I'll spin it through quite quick. When I was 21, I hadn't really done much, really. And that was the age my mum died. And it's a little bit sad, but the ending is amazing, so bear with me. So at 21, I lost my mum, and she was 51.
Right.
And the night before she passed, she asked to see me. And I was just a typical Essex lad going to football fights and stuff like that. I'd never been abroad, once to France, and once to Benidorm.
Right.
My mum, the night before she died, sat with me speaking to me about my life, not about her pain, and she kind of installed in me to go out and explore the world. She said the words walking through doors, actually, which is like carpe diem, explore on the other side and fill your life with joy. And of course I'm wondering, why are you saying all this, Mum? Why are you saying all this?
Yeah, yeah.
But it only made sense that night when I went to bed, as I did after kissing her, and she died that night. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. I went through the process of obviously burying my mum. Met a little Australian guy with a rucksack in our local pub, and he said he was going to Israel, and Israel to me was the other side of the world. I'd been to France. Israel,
and then you started thinking about what your mum said and stuff.
Well, kind of, yeah. So I said to my dad, I'm going to Israel, and my dad's like an East End footballer. Why the fuck are you going to Israel? In fact, he don't swear. He said, why are you going to Israel? So I don't really know.
I'd live there.
So I go to Israel, which actually is related to what I do here. And I quickly realised while I was in Israel that the English, because this was in 1989, and don't actually rule the world. We're not actually the best footballers in the world. We've had the best music a few times, but you get humbled on a kibbutz. You really do. No matter how flashy you may think you are, you've kind of got to make proper friends and be genuine, otherwise you soon get spat out. A bit like Ibiza.
Ibiza, 100%, yeah.
So I then started to realise and dream a lot about my mum, and I made a decision that everything I do now I'm going to do as though my mum's next to me. And her words echoing in my mind, fill your life with joy. And I took that to such an extent, I didn't come home for 10 years. I just travelled, backpacked, lived in 5, 6, 7 countries all over the world. And
by yourself?
Some,
Or you meet people along the way,
I
but-
always travelled, but never with money. I only ever had enough money to get. Well, like for instance, when I went to Australia, you wouldn't be able to do it now. You had to have what did you have to have? Money in the bank or something. So I borrowed it off my mate, got a ticket. I got into Australia with about 10 quid. It's ridiculous when you think about it.
Yeah.
But I was fearless, and always in my mind was my mum. Now, what became really interesting is when I had a deep talk with my brother once about my mum, and I realised, and this is quite powerful, and it does relate to here, that I cannot, and I still can't, pull an image of my mum up sick. I watched my mum lose her hair, I put wigs on my mum, I lifted her in her car for a last drive round a wonderful Canvey Island, which is where we ended up. But if I try and think of an image of my mum dying, it just doesn't come into me, and I don't know why.
Right.
My brother, bless him, can only pull the image of my mum sick and dying.
Right.
The
Okay.
opposite. Now that thing I can only describe as a kind of a bubble of protection. It gets me in huge trouble because I may moan about no toilet roll or Alex playing the keyboards too loud, and that's a joke. But I don't really moan, because why should I, when my mum never did? And that's got me in trouble and lost me businesses, houses. So what I realised after a lot of travelling, that I kind of was searching for something, and my life is unbelievably up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's extreme. But when I came to Ibiza 20 years ago as a musician, my very first time I came here was actually to my own party in Privilege, in the whole club, not just...
Oh, wow.
I was invited to do it because I was doing something in Italy, and Ibiza stuck in my mind. And my mum, because I said I went to Benidorm before my mum died with my mum, loved the Spanish way of life. Benidorm's not really the Spanish way of life, but
it's more like the British way of life.
It was to my mum. It was to my mum. So when I came here and started coming regularly, I started to just feel what we all feel, this pull, this something. I find myself any excuse
coming
to come back.
Yeah.
And I promoted here, big events, and got into all that. But then I kind of, when that all finished, I ended up coming back here. This is the point now. 8 years ago, I gave up my promotions. I didn't give it up because it had gone flat. I just give it up. I just stopped.
You felt that it was the end for you?
Well, it was diminishing, and as a promoter, you know it's failing before anyone knows. Still got your crowds, and I thought, I'm going to pack this up now.
Well, is that because the scene was changing, or did you just...
3 great clubs in London shut. If you know London, then you will know the End, Termills and the Cross.
Right.
They was arguably the 3 greatest clubs in London, beyond Ministry of Sound, who I worked for, and Fabric wasn't open then. When those clubs shut, that's 10,000 people on the street that have got nowhere to go. And clubbing then was an obsessive thing. It was almost a spiritual experience. You was obsessed with it. You waited all week to go to that club. It's different now.
Right.
And it was your church, to sound a bit corny. And when those clubs shut and London started changing, something told me to get out of it now, with your name intact, if you can. But my ego wouldn't let me stop doing parties, because there's loads of money involved, and I had loads of good toys and all that.
And I suppose that's what your experience is in, and if you, and your passion as well. So you can't just give your passion.
Yeah, you kind of feel what a rock star must feel like, or a super musician, because you're the promoter, you're the person everybody wants to be friends with it, but it's a bit shallow. So when I packed my promotional stuff in, and I literally threw 20,000 printed flyers into a dustbin and said, I'm not doing it. Rang the venue, said, you can keep the £4,000 fee. 2 months before, you can fill it. It's New Year's Eve. I'm not doing it. And I went and stood on Tower Bridge in London, where normally I'd have gone under it in a boat that night. Did for 12 years. Under it in a boat, my boat.
Right.
I just stood there, and I just felt a massive release of having to perform and having to earn such big money and keep this big house.
So it was pressure then?
Something happened to me, and I can't understand what it was. And I felt a pull to come here. And again, this is the point, and I'm waffling a bit. But when I came here, I just wanted to live here and kind of do nothing.
Right.
So I after packing all that in, and all the stuff that goes with packing that in, means all these people that are around you all of a sudden not around you no more.
Yeah.
And I understand it. I'm the one that gives them a DJ gig, or I'm the, but they're not around you no more, because you're of no value to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them still remain, but very few. I mean, very few. From thousands to less than what I can count.
They can't get anything from you anymore.
Because they don't.
Sort of
they just want me as a friend, and it's a bit lonely being a bit like that. Right. Our good friend Kai feels it now.
Right.
And you don't really know. It's a bit egotistical to say this. You don't really know who's really with you, why they're with you. But you do when you lose everything, and I did lose everything as well because I.
Yeah, well, the famous saying, you know who your friends are when you.
Yeah, you can't blame the people, but you know, all of a sudden, no one comes around your house or your phone stops ringing. It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And my pool of friends narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, but I was searching for something, and I never really found it in a relationship, which I've been in 3 long-term relationships, I suppose. But when I came here 7 years ago, I made a decision: do I go to India and live on one of these? I didn't even know what that's called. Like a mosque. Right. Because when I packed it in, I wanted to get away from the desire to have to earn money.
Right, complete opposite sort of thing.
I just wanted to go and, you know, I knew I had skills to survive, so I was going to go to India, in like a shrine. I didn't even know what I was talking about, but I said, I'm going to go and live in a mosque or something, and I'll just wash cars if I need money. Yeah. But I came here. I still don't know why I came here, but I came here. My friends.
It's that pull, though, isn't it? You don't know what it is, and it just pulls you.
And then I just started to recognise, and it was in the winter, which Spencer came in the winter, and I recognise Ibiza as a village mentality. When I was a little boy, and before my mum died, I would meet my auntie Maureen or George from the pub or Sid who gets his newspaper at the same time. Ibiza's like that, and it's exactly like that. Not so much in the summer. It's a community, and you meet the same people. You only saw them yesterday, but they still come up and go, Trace. Yeah. And it's really cool, and it makes me feel like a child.
And you can meet them outside because the weather's permits.
It's really cool. And so Alex used the word home. So this all compounds, and everything I do and say these days relates to my wife, Sylvia. When I met Sylvia, it was recently after my dad dying, and I am going to end it now. When my dad passed, which was 5 years ago, I felt an overwhelming feeling of not loss, and I loved my dad like I love my mum. It wasn't loss. I actually felt, I've got to use the word powerful, it's the wrong word.
Empowered?
I felt like I was on MDMA and ketamine or something. Right. I didn't know what it was. I was like, shit, I should be crumbling here. I should be... You know, and my brother almost ran from me because he was like, how come you're not in a mess? Yeah. And I don't know what it was until I met Sylvia. And when I met Sylvia, she just filled that dark black hole, that void, massively filled it, and some. Yeah. And so when I fell in love with Sylvia and Sylvia fell in love with me, all that previous stuff from when I was 21 was searching. I had the financial reward. I mean, serious dough I had. Clubs, ridiculous, stupid things I used to buy. I kind of had all that, and it was great fun, but it wasn't what I wanted. Yeah. I wanted what I've got with Sylvia. Right. And I honestly, although I run this
Which you'd never had before.
Never thought I had it, wanted it, felt I'm there, but no, there's something missing. Yeah. But it's just nothing's missing with Sylvia. Yeah. And running this house is my wonderful friends that come here, and we have our little clashes now and again. I have to say it, when I got my engagement here with Sylvia, and some of the things Alex said, and Spencer says, and recently our wedding, and I'm really waffling now, it just blows my mind. It just makes me feel like a child with my best mate in school. Yeah. You know, whereas all those others that have drifted away, if I started promoting again here, they'd all start ringing me again. Yeah. And I see that I'm almost.
But you've been there, done that sort of thing. I suppose it's like this book that I read called The Man Who Sold His Ferrari.
I've read it. Yeah.
And it basically it says it's a guy who has everything. I'm not spoil the book for anyone who wants to read it, but the clue's in the name. The man had everything. He had a Ferrari. Do you know what I mean?
And then monk.
He was a monk, so he gives it all up and sells everything, and everyone says he's crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? You've got everything I want, and you're just giving it all away. But I suppose you always want something that you don't have. Do you know what I mean? And if that thing is nothing, then you want nothing. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes it humbles you more when you've got nothing, or when you've got nothing, or when you sort of give it all up, sort of thing. And you're in control of it, but not in like an egotistical way. But you're sort of like, no, like I don't need this, and you sort of, I think it makes you a bit
It's the
more of a
beginning of
better person
enlightenment.
as well.
You put value on different things
Yeah.
that you've got in you already.
Yeah, real stuff.
Real stuff that you carry around with you. Like happiness, definitely I've learned comes from inside you.
Yeah.
And the world is what you make it and what you see.
Ferrari
it,
would be
see
nice
it
though,
as.
wouldn't it? Just for a day or two.
Yeah.
I've had one.
You've out, yeah. This is
No,
this
no,
is
I
the
like
monk.
it
This is the
back
monk who sold his Ferrari.
No, I loved
Did
it.
you sell the Ferrari?
I had to sell it to them about to eat. I sold everything except for this watch. I lost everything.
That's part two. The man who sold his
Justified.
watch. The monk who sold his watch.
The reason
Bought a
I
drum
think
with it.
this watch is my mum.
You tell the
told me-
time.
No, have a piece of jewellery.
Right.
It used to be sovereign rings actually.
Right.
Where you can get home from anywhere in the world if you get stuck.
Right.
And that watch will get me home from anywhere in the world if no one nicks it tonight. And that's why I wear it. I've actually not been able to put food on my table before. No one to borrow off. No job. Nothing in the bank. Nothing. And I've still got this watch. But I've been in a relationship. I said, well, sell your fucking watch. It's just a watch. No,
Yeah.
it ain't.
Yeah.
My mum telling me to
Yeah.
have something. So to answer your question properly, Ibiza is home for me.
Yeah.
This is home.
Yeah.
It's just a building, but this is home.
Yeah, yeah.
My total, complete home is my relationship with Sylvia. That's my home. She's my home. And I'm really blessed to have everything I do with these guys. I said it earlier on, I'm kind of their landlord, but I'd much rather be their mate as well,
Yeah.
rather than just a landlord.
I think it's good. It's good. That's a good vibe to have. I think because you can come to. A lot of people can't talk to their landlords about stuff like this, for example. Do you know what I mean? You never find some people living in a house and getting their landlord round and
Be comfortable enough.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's a sort of like a barrier there. Like I'm your landlord. You're
We haven't had a
your
landlord for a
bank
long
manager or a
time. So
lawyer
like, this is,
or-
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But I think you get more out of people by being friendly and being open, and you get less problems. I
If the
think
people are genuine that you
Yeah.
surround yourself with, if they're predatory,
as long as they don't hang
then
upside down or
they'll
anything.
rinse you for that.
there's a bit of that going on.
Yeah, that going on.
Right, you could change something in Ibango, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing.
Look at
With
their
it.
face.
Be the
No,
same thing, innit?
I said go easy on
Hey, so
me.
what would you change about Ibango? So let's say it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could just be something you'd love to see more of, or see here, or maybe it is something. Maybe it is something that bothers you, right?
I'm going to get ripped apart here.
More toilets.
So I've got
You
I've
want
got
us to
some
write
paper.
it down as well.
I've got some. Yeah, you don't need to say it.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Okay.
One.
So this isn't a confrontational thing,
Okay.
right? So
It
I'm going to
is.
rip up something that you love about Ibango.
Oh, God, I can't.
Right? Just could be something that you really like about Ibango, and then on the other side, write down something that you would change, or that maybe that bothers you. No, because since being here, and I've realised nobody complains about anything.
Well, they do. No,
What, you live round the
no, but
back?
you're entitled.
You don't even live here. What are you on about? So I don't. I think we've come to the end, really.
We've come to the end.
We've come to the end. I just want to say thank you very much for sitting through this whole interview,
Thank you.
and it's been good.
Yeah, very enjoyable.
Let's do this more often.
I'll put P for positive.
Right.
T for terrible.
Look,